did not think that through at all. My jeans are like covered in mud after going through the trails, but all is well. So today I'm making a video, and excuse me for this terrible light. It's like 1 o'clock right now. It's just brutal lighting right now, but today I'm gonna go downtown because I need to make a video that is very much long overdue. So a couple weeks ago, you know that I sold my Fuji X-T2 and picked up something else, the Fuji X-Pro2. And I haven't really had a chance to shoot this camera at all just because I've been crazy busy. But today, I wanna get out and shoot with one of my good friends, Nick Wilkinson. So I'm gonna go snag him right now from his house. We're gonna head downtown and we're gonna get some photography in today. Let's get right to it.
What's up, dude?
What up, G?
You ready?
Let's get after it. Let's get after it.
Woo!
We made it downtown, we just parked. So what we're gonna do now is get off this parking garage. I'm gonna strap my GoPro onto the top of my X-Pro2, and we're just gonna get after it. I'm gonna get some photos using the X-Pro2 with the 35mm f2 lens, standard setup, and yeah, let's see what we can do. Let's get into it. Snagging a quick lunch real quick before we head back out to shoot. We've already been shooting for like an hour probably, and I got 2 shots that I'm actually pretty happy with. The first one was that like really symmetrical shot of City Hall, and then the second one was that one of Nick walking down the alleyway where there was like a puddle in the front, so I used it as a reflection, and I think that that one came out pretty dope. So we're gonna eat this lunch really quick and then get back out there. We're going to City Hall because there's like an observation deck up at the top of it, and we're gonna try to snap some pics up there. Let's do it. Change plans again. Apparently City Hall is not open on Saturdays, so we're just gonna go to the waterfront and see what we can find over there. YouTube, we are back in the office. Check this place out. Brand new bedroom slash office setup, so I'm pretty pumped about that. But today I want to talk real quick about the X-Pro2 versus the X-T2. So today, this video was pretty much the first time that I formally got out to shoot with the X-Pro2. So I want to talk kind of about my first impressions and just really about what I think about this camera versus the X-T2, which is what I sold and traded to get this camera. So I want to focus on this comparison in 3 different aspects. First, the technical comparison. Second, the user experience comparison. And then 3, the just physical appearance comparison and why I think that matters. So first off, from a technical standpoint, the X-Pro2 and the X-T2 are almost identical. They both have the 24 megapixel X-Trans sensor, which is more than enough resolution for pretty much any person's needs. There are some people that shoot landscapes and things of that nature that want the 40 or 50 megapixel sensors, but for street photography and portraits and things of that nature, my opinion, I think 24 megapixels is plenty. And then from an autofocus standpoint, they're both almost identical. I think that the X-T2 might be a little bit better in terms of subject tracking for like action sports and things of that nature, but when you're just doing autofocus single with like a single point, they're both identical from my experience, and I think that it's plenty fast for my needs. The one thing that I would say is a drawback for the X-Pro2 versus the X-T2 is the EVF, or the electronic viewfinder. The EVF obviously is placed at a different spot, but the only issue with it is that with the X-Pro2, it is a considerably smaller viewfinder and it's also much lower resolution. It's not a deal breaker by any means whatsoever. It's more than usable, but it's just something to note if you're comparing the two cameras. So let's talk real quick about the user experience comparison. Again, these cameras, the X-Pro2 and the X-T2 are very, very similar. The only thing that I would say is a little bit different is that the X-Pro2 actually feels a little bit more well-built, which is kind of, it should be based on the price comparison. I think that this is like $1,600 or $1,700 brand new right now, whereas the X-T2, I'm not sure, but I think it's like $1,100. There's a big price discrepancy. And yeah, basically the buttons in the dials just feel much more well built on this camera as compared to the X-T2. So that's really the only thing that I would say from like a build quality standpoint. But the one thing that I do really like about the X-Pro2 is that all of the buttons are positioned on the right-hand side rather than the X-T2 where they're kind of spread out across the right and left-hand side. So it makes it much easier on the Pro 2 to control everything just using one hand rather than having to use both hands on the X-T2. The last thing that I want to touch on in comparing the X-T2 and the X-Pro2 is just the physical appearance. I really think that the physical appearance is actually the most important part of this comparison, because when people see in public a camera that looks like this is just my Nikon film camera, when they see a DSLR style camera that has a viewfinder that is in the center like this, they perceive it as being very professional. Whether or not it is, doesn't really matter, but when they see a camera that just has this shape to it, they perceive it as being more professional than something like this. When they see a camera that looks like this, that doesn't have that big bump in the center for the viewfinder, they perceive it as being more of a point and shoot camera. And you may or may not think this matters, however, I really think it matters, because when I'm out in public with a DSLR style camera, people see it and they perceive me as being a professional. So they act weird around me, they might avoid me, and people like security guards and things of that nature might kick you out of certain places because you're not supposed to be there as a professional photographer. However, with a rangefinder style camera or something that looks a little bit more like a point and shoot, it's much less likely that you're gonna get noticed by anybody. People are gonna act a lot more natural around you, they're probably not gonna avoid you, and it's very possible that you can get into sporting events and into places that you traditionally wouldn't be able to get into using a DSLR style camera. My opinion is that it actually really matters what your camera looks like when it comes to things like street photography and getting your camera into unique places. So yeah, that is, in my opinion, the most important difference between the X-T2 and the X-Pro2. So overall, I am super happy with the X-Pro2, and I'm definitely going to be taking a ton of photos in the future with it and making a bunch of videos all about it. So if you like this video and you want to see more of this content in the future, definitely hit that subscribe button below. And if you really enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. It would help out the channel a ton. As always, I appreciate you guys big time for watching my videos, and I'll be here next week with more content for you. See you next week. Peace.